This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. We are now back. WFO Radio is on the air. And if you are a fan of NHRA drag racing, you're going to love this show, especially if you're a fan of Pro Stock. Erica Enders, the champ, the four-time champ, and now the most recent race winner, is on this show. We're going to hear from Erica not long from now. Erica is, wow, second win of the season, but holding off Greg Anderson, who is trying to tie Warren Johnson for that 97th career win in Pro Stock. How dramatic was that? In a race of rivalries, this was probably the greatest. Before we go any further, though, and I know you're going to get queued up, you're going to want to talk to Erica and all, I want to take a minute or two to do what's absolutely the most important thing. And I know what you're thinking. Thank the sponsors, Joe. Thank the sponsors. And the answer is no, not that today. Happy birthday to my dad. My pop, Dad, you're out there, 78 years old. Dad, doing a great job. Really love you. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. This is the photo I got of my dad in my house, right? His Marine Corps photos. But thank you, Dad. Dad, you're the guy who got me so passionate about everything that I like, in particular drag racing, gave me the opportunity to drive and to race and to learn and win a couple of track championships. Thank you so much, Dad. Really appreciate you. And here's to going racing more in the future as soon as we can, and dinner as soon as this show is over. And now to the sponsors. They're important too. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. Matt Hartford and the team. You know, what did the Pro Stock Final have in common, right? I'm pretty sure they had Total Seal rings inside those engines, for what I know. TotalSeal.com, a leader in ring seal technology, bracket engines, Formula One engines, stock eliminator, TotalSeal.com. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. Frank Hawley, integral part of our guest's career. Erica has had great things to say about Frank over the years. I think you should just go do the Dragster Adventure myself and just drive a dragster. That's it. No expectations. Just have fun. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. Blockhead, CNC programs, motorsport, EFI tuning. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. Check them out, samtech.edu. And my buddy Marvin Rodak, roasting coffee fresh per your order down there in Fort Worth, Texas. Hot sauces and spice rubs and grills and tools and tips and information. Give them a call, 817-924-6821. I love our sponsors. They're there every week. We're driving down that message, and hopefully when you need one, you'll remember them. All right, now it is time to go out to our reigning Pro Stock champion and the most recent race winner, and Erica Enders joining us now. Erica, welcome back to WFO. How are you?
Hey, Joe. I'm good. How are you?
I am great. What a win. Second win of the season. 31st of your Pro Stock career. This one felt massive, though, with all the extra storylines going on. Oh, did you hear that? Are you not hearing me? There's a little delay or something.
No, it's cutting out.
It's cutting out. It was working so well. Try reconnecting. Like lower the volume. You had like really blasting it now. Try to lower it down a little bit. We did a test. It was great, as you can imagine. And in the meantime, I'll look at all these things here, like Blake saying hi to Erica. I'm going to save that, Blake, so she can see. Right? All right, let's bring her back. We're going to bring her back.
Sorry.
That's okay.
This is what you get for living in Wynnewood, Oklahoma.
Oh, is that where you are, Wynnewood? There. Well, sure. I hear but now you can hear me, right?
I got you now.
Okay, so everybody's out there saying hello. Blake out there saying hello, and Jim saying congratulations, and everybody checking in to say hello. To me, I felt like this was a huge race just going in with the car counts, going back to Norwalk. We want to talk about you round by round, but this had to be exciting just to get back to America's racetrack.
Yeah, it definitely was, for sure. With COVID messing everything up last year, it was really exciting to get back to Norwalk. The Bader family does a tremendous job with promotions and track upkeep, and the racing surface was flawless. I'm super proud of the Safety Safari and all the guys that worked so hard on Sunday through 2 rain delays to get the track back in condition for us to race on. And, both lanes were pretty equal in the finals. So hats off to them.
Oh, yes. Daryl Gwynn out there getting right to it. Like DG doesn't mess around, right? He goes 005 in the final. I want to talk about that, but I want to build up to it because that's how the day went through qualifying, everything. You and Greg were able to cut through the field, and I want to talk a little bit about how that went. But you guys always go to win the race. Did this one feel any different, or did you come in? It had been a little while since you had won one. So how was your program going? And you had even said like you weren't happy with the way you had performed in the past few races.
No, this season was definitely off to a slow start, starting with the Door Slammer Nationals in Orlando, then heading to Gainesville. I had a early first round exit at the hands of one of the quadras. We went on to Vegas and were able to win that 4-wide event, and then haven't done really much of anything worth talking about since April. So after having such a great car in Epping and fouling out due to that pesky red light. I red lit there the last time that we raced there. So that was pretty unfortunate, especially with how well Mark and Tim and all my guys had prepared the car and given me a great race car, and I gave it away on the starting line. So, I showed a little dissatisfaction in my interview, totally disappointed in myself for letting that one go. But I just allowed that to fuel our fire for Norwalk. And then, as you mentioned, being able to return to that facility, it's a great racetrack. It's famous for the 1 pound of ice cream for $1. So when you get the trophy, you also get that really cool billet ice cream scoop. So that's always a goal of ours. But heading in there, we just had to get our heads right, me especially. We fought that race car all weekend long, and I said it in my post-race interview with Amanda Busick, but I really want to give Mark Ingersoll a lot of credit because he is the absolute most passionate person in the entire world. He gets so mad he'll cry. He just digs deep and fights with all the heart that he has. I have Tim Freeman, Mike DePalma, and Eric Lazinski alongside of Mark helping as well. So we had all hands on deck, and he did a really great job fighting that car on Sunday. And every round he got better. And we knew after the semifinals with Greg outrunning us a few hundredths that we really had to go back and make some changes, and we did just that. So the plan was executed almost perfectly, and we were able to load up GA in the finals and put our Melling Performance Chevy Camaro in the winner's circle at Norwalk. Amazing stuff. And just looking at some of the photos, you mentioned Mike and you mentioned Eric and Tim Freeman. Like the brain trust over there at Elite is deep, and there's cars everywhere, right? Like you guys got a lot of cars and a lot of clients, and we spoke with Aaron last week, and so he's looking really good. You've got to have a lot of talent if you're going to bring a lot of the cars to the racetrack, and that's exactly what you have. But as everybody goes out, then that brain power can kind of focus its energy, and that's exactly what happened. So let's go round by round and build to the final. You mentioned the quadras, right? They bring their A game when they have to run you. That's part of being a 4-time champ. 009 Christian Quadra. Yeah, that was. I knew when we pulled up to the staging lanes, I wasn't sure which Quadra I had, and when I found out it was the orange car, who was the guy that helped me secure our 4th World Championship in Vegas last year by taking out Jason Line on a hole shot, I knew we had our work cut out for us. It kind of was a tricky first round. It was extremely hot. The sun was shining bright. The track surface was hot and very tricky. There were a lot of lane swaps going on. We were the last pair to run in the session, so we were running 8th. I followed my teammate, Aaron Stanfield, who blew the back window out of it, and I heard the calls over the radio. I knew we were making some changes before we went up there ourselves, and we almost fell victim to the same thing that Aaron did, unfortunately. So, I want to give credit where credit's due. Christian did a tremendous job on the starting line being 00, and I'm thankful that I had my elite performance horsepower to get me around him, because when I unclutched it blew the back window out as well. I was just able to catch it a little bit earlier than Aaron did and pull it out of low gear, get it into second, and get it down the racetrack. So I feel like that was our lucky round win of the day. And we came back to the pit and just made some significant changes. My teammate, TJ Coughlin, unfortunately lost first round as well, but Bruno Massel was able to go on. So we snagged some stuff off of TJ's cars and then used the brain trust, as you mentioned, to just tune up my Melling Performance car and get it a little bit better for the second round. But after our lousy first round performance, we were sent to the back of the pack. We were the slowest winner of the round. So we were first out second round, which is you kind of got to tiptoe around the starting line up there, and guys get a little bit timid and everybody's a little bit nervous. So we just kind of we were behind the 8 ball all weekend long. And that's why I mentioned Mark Ingersoll just fighting this race car, and he did an excellent job.
What a great story, and amazing. And the Bruno story, that's really good. Obviously he didn't want to have to run TJ, but Bruno, who is as good as they get, comp champion, multi-time over, and he goes out and wins comp this weekend, genuinely living the pro stock dream, like has just like so many other Lucas Oil Series racers, right? Who just the pro stock. Wow, that's it. They don't really dream of driving a nitro car. They dream of driving a pro stock car. He's doing it. Takes down Troy, but then had a tough round. Second round was just beating himself up big time. That enables you to go to the semis where you got to run Kid Chaos, and that KB Elite rivalry is percolating big time. Like all these young kids, you said it at the start of the season. You're like, oh, I feel like a grandma, which is obviously an exaggeration. But
yes,
Chaos goes 008, and I could tell he wasn't too happy about it because he felt like he had the light to win. But you need the total package.
Yeah, you definitely do, and he did his job again. 008. I wasn't too far behind with the 015, and we were able to outperform him on the racetrack. But the kid does a great job in the car. He obviously has a state-of-the-art team behind him with a huge brain trust as well, just like Elite Motorsports. So. Again, I knew what we were going up against, and that was a very crucial round to get by him. So I was thankful that was able to happen. And again, just picked away at it. And as I said, Mark got better with the race car. I got better on the Christmas tree, just kind of fighting, a tricky racetrack, having to leave at a low RPM, having to adjust my linkage accordingly, dealing with full sun, then cloud cover, then fast forwarding to the final where the sun was completely behind the tower. All of these things play a part in how I set up my clutch pedal. So being able to be 15 against Koretsky was crucial. And I knew going to the final against Greg that I was going to have to be deadly in order to load him. So we all did what we had to do, but very crucial round against Koretsky.
All right, so let's get into the final round, which is what everybody wants to talk about. Now I'm watching this race, and I'm just thinking, me, I'm always thinking about the storyline, this, and I couldn't help but think about years ago on our WFO radio show, and everybody knows we've been around for over 10 years, a long time, and I don't even know when it was, but we had, Greg made some statements about you early on that he didn't want to be the one where you got your first win, and you guys. You bumped heads a few times, and eventually he was the one that you got your first win against, which is just, amazing and poetic, etc. No one likes to be a footnote in history. He doesn't change the fact he is one of the greatest pro stock racers of all time. But here we are now. The shoe is potentially on the other foot. And maybe he's got the best car, and maybe you are going to be the person in history that he beat to tie the Professor Warren Johnson at Summit Motorsports Park. And like I told Reinhardt yesterday, you said, oh, hell no. And you dialed up a 005 and you won the race. But before we get to the race, the rain comes down and puts the brakes on everything. And so now you guys are in a very awkward position of having to sit in the lanes next to one another, all the crews intermingled, just waiting, ready together. How, awkward or weird, or how do you handle that? And I noticed that you checked out. You went and were underneath the bleachers.
I did. When it started pouring, I ran to the media center so I didn't get my fire suit and my racing shoes wet. After that, when the rain stops and they started drying the track again, I went down there and was talking to Ingersoll and Freeman and a bunch of my guys on the starting line where it started to drizzle a little bit heavier. And that's when I took off under the bleachers, and I was just sitting talking to Tim Freeman and Jake Hairston, my lead engine builder. And we're just kind of going over some things and, getting our heads right. And my sister reminded me that the last rain delay race was Indy last year, and we were able to win that event as well. She's kind of my forever hype girl and gets me up when I'm starting to have a little bit of doubt, and she did a great job at that. But just the thoughts that go into it, talking to Lanny, the track reader guy for Force, I overheard him saying that the track went from a 111 degrees to like 92 degrees. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, my crew chiefs aren't telling me this because they don't want me to worry, but I'm like, man, that's a solid 20 degrees. And I know that we're going to go up on leave RPM. Meanwhile, the sun's going down. I know I touched on that earlier, but it completely ducked behind the tower. The cloud cover kind of rolled in a little bit more significantly, and the tree was full shade. So I'm thinking of all these changes that we made to the car, putting more gear in it, having to hop it up to be able to beat Greg Anderson. So when we left the pit area, our setup was locked and loaded. We spent the rest of the afternoon in the staging lanes waiting out the rain delay. So we weren't able to go back and change anything, and you just had to roll with what you had. So long story short, a lot of activity going on up here, and just trying to keep the self-talk positive and and stay on the same page with my crew chiefs and my engine builders. And while we were under the grandstands, I saw a double rainbow, and I was like, man, maybe this is a sign that it's our day. So, we got back to our race cars. Greg and I shook hands, we loaded up, and the rest, I guess, is history. So it was definitely interesting.
Interesting. Speaking of the double rainbow, check out what your sister was up to.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, exactly. So Courtney clowning around. This is before the final round when that rainbow came out, and it was cool because it was it was perfect. It was like at a TV, right? A perfect rainbow, and Court was just clowning around a little bit there because it was still very steamy out there. So you roll to the starting line. You're going up against Greg. All that stuff that I said about you beat him and he beats you and history and all of that and 97 wins for him and Warren Johnson. You don't want to be the one. Did that enter your mind at all as a champion race car driver? Is that kind of stuff able to even get in there, or were you able to stay focused?
I honest to God didn't give that one thought. I just knew the task at hand was going to be a huge mountain to climb. It's kind of like the David and Goliath story I always talk about, but when your competitor is a multi-time world champion and a 96-time national event winner, one of the baddest dudes Pro Stock has ever seen, you know that you have your work cut out for you. So honestly, I was just focused on what I was going to do in the cockpit. I needed to nail my burnout, hit my spot, and just stage as shallow as I could, crack the tree, hit my shifts, and hopefully turn on the wind light at the other end. But that thought did not enter my mind. But I do want to touch on that. Like, I wouldn't mind being on the other side of his history. I'd be next to him right in the final round when he was able to get it done. And anytime I roll on any property, I would absolutely say I'll take a runner-up finish right now if I could secure that. So being able to be next to Greg in the final round when he gets it done, I would gladly take that honor because he's, again, one of the best that this sport has ever seen. And he was that guy, but I'll gladly be that girl.
Well, exactly. And you know what? I love to hear that because we had all these rivalries. We had Steve Johnson and Matt Smith. We had Brittany and Steve Torrance, and then you two. And I just think the world of the rivalry because I can tell there's no, and you tell me, I think you just answered, there's no hate at all. It's just extreme respect and love for the category that is Pro Stock. Like, who loves the category of Pro Stock as much as you do? I know Greg Anderson does, and I know you love it as much as he does, and everybody that works so hard on these teams, you guys love Pro Stock so much. You kind of all collaborated to help save Pro Stock. Now we got 21 cars at every race. It's great, maybe better than it's been in years. And so I love that you can be so intense without any frivolous silliness, hatred, that kind of stuff. It's like genuine competition.
It really is. And, maybe in 2012 when I still hadn't won my first race and I was up against him and he made those comments, I probably hadn't earned the respect yet. I hadn't been in the winner's circle yet. I hadn't proven myself, even though I had been racing Pro Stock for 7 years. I drove equipment that wasn't top of the pack, sometimes wasn't even able to qualify, but I was just out there getting seat time, keeping my name and face out there, trying to bring new sponsors into the game. So I hadn't earned that respect up to that point, perhaps. But now I feel like I have a little bit. We've shown what we're capable of. Greg and the KB guys know exactly that, just like we know what they're capable of. So you are spot on when you say the respect is absolutely there. I do not hate the guy. I actually told him a couple races ago, I was joking with him because he just celebrated a milestone birthday. I said, man, as you've gotten older, you've gotten a lot nicer and a lot more funny. So, we've all become good friends over the years, but when we fire the cars and drive up to the starting line, we want to rip each other's throats out, and that will never go away.
And that's what we love. And you went 005. Like, that was classic Erica Enders. And in the end, like, what, describe Erica Enders, show me a final round. There's a couple, the side-by-side trip zips was amazing for the first championship, but this is one. This was a classic Erica Enders performance, 005 in the final round against Greg Anderson. Obviously, Richard pretty happy about it. Certainly fired up those guys, and just great stuff. And I'm super happy for you. But this is, in my opinion, not the last time you guys are going to run in a final round or for a trophy this year.
No, I agree with that. I said it at the beginning of the year. We've had lackluster performance, but I absolutely believe wholeheartedly that it will come down to Greg Anderson and I for either of our 5th world championships. And, this class is something that we both take a lot of pride in. We have a lot of passion for it. Between Elite and KB, these two groups absolutely saved the class of Pro Stock with no help from anybody else. But it was an uphill battle, and we did it. And now we have over 20 cars at most events, and we've made it as affordable as it ever has been, at least in the 17 years that I've been driving. But it's an awesome deal. I love Pro Stock. I'm so fortunate to be able to drive it. I'm really proud to be at the top of our game, and we're going to go for it. You mentioned our performance, us being 005 in the finals. I was 15 the round before. I mentioned the sun, the leave RPM, the clutch linkage, all of that stuff plays a role. I read a press release last night. My team and I were on a group text, and it said something about how I lucked out to win. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I believe that we had a plan. We executed as perfectly as we possibly could. We threw a very respectable ET up on the board, and I was damn sure set up to be 00 against him. So that was execution right there. That had nothing to do with luck. And I'm really proud of my Melling performance guys. Gallagher, Transportation Impact, Gunskins, High Performance Lubricants. That David Ward was out there this weekend. So it was, we had a ton of guests, a lot of our sponsors that make this happen for us. So it was a huge win, and really, really cool to keep the guys that run the other brand from winning at their national event. We were able to paint it Jegs yellow.
It's funny that you say that, like, and I notice it all the time in the media, words like that, hung on to get the win. There's one that gets used a lot. Everybody should notice, hung on to get the win. Well, when you go 005 and get there first, you're not hanging on to anything. You imposed your will on the competition. It's just weird. And honestly, like, Reinhardt and I were talking about it yesterday, about people who, with Brittany and Steve, right? Like, oh, you shouldn't be beating up on a girl. Let me tell you something. You're beating up on everybody else. We're in a universe where talent is what matters. What who you are doesn't matter. It's what kind of talent and knowledge and experience you bring to the table. And I just think it's hard for some people to change their outlook or their language for the world that is right now.
Yeah, it probably is a little bit challenging, and the girl thing is going to be something that Brittany, myself, Alexis, all of us have to deal with till the day that we die. But listen, when we put on our helmets, everything's equal. It's just like me playing basketball with my guys at Kalahari on Thursday. Like, it's all dudes and me, and I can't get mad if I get hurt or catch an elbow to the cheek. Like, I willingly entered this arena as a female, as the only one, and it is what it is. So until the world changes their opinion, which isn't happening, I think that we're all good with it, and we'll continue to go toe to toe with all these guys.
It's happening. No, you're making it happen. That's the thing that's so cool about it. Like, every time you go out there and you do it, there's somebody who says, yeah, man, that girl's good. Like, that's it. Like, it's a shame that you have to do that, but such is life. I think about Shirley all the time. Like, oh my gosh, what did she endure? Shirley Muldowney. All right, there's some people out there who have some questions since we're doing this. You guys are not going to be running Denver, which is a bit of a bummer, but I get it. We'll see you in Sonoma. But some people have asked if you drove the bitch back.
We did. Yeah. My sister hasn't posted the video yet. We have a ton of content that's fixing to come out. We just released the in-car camera footage this morning from the GoPro video of the final round, where I embarrassingly enough got super duper crazy excited, and you can hear my squeaky voice screaming or whatever. But I mean, that's real. It's raw. It's solid passion. And, I've given my whole life for this. And those are the moments that matter. And to be able to stand up and with the weight of the world on our shoulders and perform the way that we do and get that win, that was crucial. I mean, that was probably one of the biggest rounds of the year, and just the way that it unfolded and the performance that Greg has been having this year. I think he's qualified on the pole 6 out of the 7 races. They definitely have the race car, and Greg's a great driver. So it was one of those deals. It went our way, but to be able to do it with these guys who believe in me and believe in what we're doing, it means the world to me.
Courtney says that the video is coming tomorrow. The in-car cameras were great on Fox. They pointed at one another. I wish they would do that more often. You guys both hit the stripe. You both went on the chip. It was really awesome. Hey, Jeff is excited about Pro Mod in Denver. What are you doing for that? Are you taking off? Are you going to be there? What are you doing?
No, I will not be in Denver. I don't believe our Pro Mod cars are going to show up to Denver either. I'm not sure what's going on. They got to work on that program. Alex Laughlin and Lyle Barnett are the 2 drivers. Lyle had a pretty fun round 1 win against the number 2 qualifier Belushi, who is just having outstanding performance this year. But we will not be in Denver, but we will be in Sonoma and Pomona back to back. I think Chase's brother is getting married that weekend, so everybody's taken off to Destin to go to that wedding that weekend.
Okay. All right. Destin, Florida. Very, very, very good. Sounds good, right? I assume that's cool. From Disney movie I had to watch a million times, Having 3 Girls. Erica has proven herself more than once. Yes, Rivalry. And Courtney just adds to the show, says Earl Nichols, who is out there racing on a pretty regular basis. All this technical talk, but it was Courtney's red pants who did everything that got the job done. Jerron says, EE with the bracket race reaction times. LOL. What's up, Joe and Erica? Everybody weighing in, and we always have good numbers when you win the race, Erica. So that's never a bad thing. Someone did ask, though, like, how late in the going can you wait to make your linkage adjustments? Like, does that happen in the pit? Does it happen in the lanes? When does that happen?
So that all happens in the pit, because once I change the linkage on the clutch pedal, they have to reset the air gap, and that has to be done with the transmission pan out and mark on the clutch pedal and Chase underneath. So that's not something that you can do in the lanes. That's something that I have to commit to before we leave the pit. So that's why I kind of mentioned all of the changes that happened throughout that rain delay. It was significantly changing our setup, or my setup anyways. So I was a little closer to perfect than I wanted to be. I thought I would go up there and probably be 8 to 10 on the tree, and we were 5. So if I could I'm the human element, right? Like, if I can just stage as shallow as possible and as consistent as possible, I'll see the light the same and let go when I'm supposed to. And, 005 is a little close for comfort, but it's what it took to win. And that's what happened.
And to me, I think it's amazing, like the professional athlete, like, yeah, we're shooting for 8 thou, but we got 5 thou. And so we're talking about 3 thousandths of a second, which the average human or even decent bracket racer to know, see, or plan for 3 thou. Like, come on, that's crazy. Blake from Ohio just wants to know, what do you do mentally to prepare for elimination day? Blake was out there with his dad, young man, loves drag racing, loves the idea of, interviewing. What about that, to mentally prepare for eliminations?
So, hi, Blake. First of all, I promised I would give him a shout out because he told me on Sunday that he was planning on watching WFO Joe on Monday. So before we even won the race, he's like, man, I really hope you win because I got a new YouTube account and I'm going to be able to watch WFO Joe and you. And man, what a great kid who just absolutely knows everything about drag racing. He keeps up with everything that's going on. He came by the pit after we won and took some pictures in the winner's circle with us. Steve-O came by and he was able to talk to Blake as well. So hi, Blake. I'm glad you joined us. But mentally to prepare, I mean, it's just, gosh, my dad always says it's the 6 inches between your ears, right? Everything, it's a 90% mental game, and you just got to have positive self-talk. You got to have positive reinforcement from your crew. I feel like when they're confident, I'm confident, and that's something that built all day long. It didn't start out super strong, but we got there and we were there when it counted. So just kind of keeping your head right. It's really tough when the days are as long as Sunday was, because I normally, I have kind of a food schedule and I monitor what I put in my body, and to have to go like 4 and 5 hours longer than we normally go, it definitely proved to be a challenge. And you just got to stay alert, stay awake, stay up, and keep the adrenaline going. So that was a challenge on Sunday with the rain delays, but mental preparation is to just always keep it positive.
So you didn't have 5 pounds of ice cream like I did?
No, but I did say I would sponsor ice cream if somebody would go wait in the line and get it. So I sent one of our guys with $20 and he came back with a bunch of buckets of it. I did not partake though, because it's Sunday and I didn't want the sugar in my body, but I did. I may or may not have had some on Friday.
There you go. No, I love it. I love it. Lonnie wants to know, he goes, I loved your Erica's black stealth colored car a few years ago, the flat black car. Would you ever consider going back to that paint scheme, like a throwback to that car for your fans?
So when Gaston Kirby sponsored us, we were in the flat black GK Motorsports car, and we also had the Zaza car. But he asked me if I could have any color car that I wanted, what would it be? I said it would be flat black with black wheels. And he did that for us. So that was really cool. But I think racing for Richard Freeman at Elite Motorsports, he thinks there's only one color in the color wheel, and that's red. So we will be racing red Chevy Camaros to the day that we die. But I tried to talk him into going like with a flat red, kind of like the Jeff Jones Imperial Pro Mod cars out there, which looks pretty killer if you ask me. Do that with some black wheels. I think that would look pretty gangster.
It would look very, very good. And I listen, I love where Richard's coming from, like the branding, right? Like when you get it right the first time, you don't need to switch it up. And the car is known and everybody knows that's E. But at the same time, for the gear and the marketing, every once in a while throwing a curveball, like look at the NFL and the NBA, they switch, they have alternative uniforms just to sell gear, man. That's the reason they do it. I like both ideas. Hey, Angie's out there. Angie says that your first round win in Pro Stock was against her dad. I assume she's talking about Tricky Ricky.
It was in Reading, Pennsylvania in 2005. And that was our first round win. So that was pretty exciting for me too back then, but congrats to Matt and Angie on a great weekend. We help with their engine stuff here, just honing their blocks at Elite Performance. So they're kind of our teammates, and I've really enjoyed getting to become racetrack sisters with Angie. She's a great girl, and I don't know anybody that works harder and puts up with more crap than she does. So hats off to her.
And did you hear about her big win this weekend as well, that she also won something?
What did she win?
She won the second annual Norwalk ice cream eating contest.
Did she really?
Yes. She defeated Jim Campbell, Justin Ashley, Derek Kramer. And Krista Baldwin. It was a tremendous victory by Angie, but it was called into question because she was working in the gray area in terms of equipment and a couple of other things. It's available on social media. Everybody's encouraged to watch Angie. But so far, Angie's the champ, man. She won it again. She'll defend her title next year.
Way to go, Angie. And you got to experiment in the gray area if you want to do well, right?
Exactly. Well, you see, Alan tried to throw her out. Alan took it very seriously. That's the thing. It's like, we're not weighing the ice cream, Alan, but I guess we could. And Angie brought her own spoon, a metal spoon that apparently had been in a hot oven for a couple of hours or something.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. Well, listen, it's designed to be.
Well, unless it's in the rule book, it's legal, right?
Exactly. And there is no rule book. And so we'll just have to see. Next year, this will be the Angie Smith rule. We already got the Jim Campbell rule. Now we'll have the Angie Smith rule. And pretty soon we'll have a real organization. It'll be great. Erica, love the fact that you come on WFO every time you win. It's been amazing. This was just about as good a final round as it gets in Pro Stock. You know, I love the category and all NHRA drag racing, but Pro Stock has got a tough road because there's not fire coming out of the cars. They're not going 330 miles per hour. But for the die-hard fans that really love intense competition, like how does it get better than this? And oh, by the way, we got the Western Swing, which is going to be 2 races for you guys. Pomona at night, which is going to be amazing. We're going to have a great time. Like, I can't wait. It feels like it's just getting started.
I feel like it is too. I'm really excited for the summer to roll around, and we usually do pretty well with our Melling performance car on hot racetracks, so I'm looking forward to that. But this season's flying by. I mean, tomorrow's the 1st of July, and that's unbelievable, which is also the anniversary of my first win, by the way. I remember that, July 1st, 2012. So it's crazy that it's been 9 years. I can't believe it, but we've certainly accomplished a lot in those 9 years with 31 wins and 4 world championships. So I'm thankful to be living the dream, and it sure is a heck of a lot of fun. But Pro Stock, is the jam, man. I tell you, I was reading some of the comments today on the video, the in-car camera that my sister posted, and being human, right? You always like look at the negative things. This guy comes on and he says, it's a clutchless transmission. Anybody can drive it. And I just was like, just let it go, Erica. And for some reason, it must be being employed at Elite Motorsports for the last 8 years. I just can't let it go. So I invited him out to come give it a shot. So Pro Stock is amazing. You got to lead with a clutch. You got to manually shift the transmission. It's 5-speed. And it's a heck of a lot of fun, but no downforce, very loose. And it's a crazy ride. We don't have flames, but it's way cool.
Okay. 2 quick comments. On that note, if you're handing out rides and experiences to negative people who challenge your driving, I think it's super easy too, Erica. I think I could probably do it. No problem. Why don't you put me in the car, man? Come on, clutchless. It's no big deal. Meanwhile, I almost totally messed up Hartford's car just starting it. But yeah, how could someone even possibly think that? Number one. But people think all kinds of weird stuff. And number 2, you're absolutely right about like noticing negativity. There's 100 positive comments and there's 1 negative comment, and we want to know what the negative comment is. It's just the way it is. But I bet you got a lot of positive comments at Melling. Didn't you go up there? Didn't you go after the win and bring the trophy? What happened with that?
We did. So Melling Performance is based in Jackson, Michigan, which is just a couple hours up the road from Norwalk. So that's why we had so many guests on Sunday. Mark and Matt Melling, the 2 brothers that own and run Melling, were there with their families. A handful of the employees, and then we made the trip to Jackson on Monday with the trophy and the ice cream scoop, and we set up, and they had a huge luncheon. It was Melling's 75th anniversary. I think they served like 400 pounds of pork, and they had 350 employees that were all able to come check out the race cars, see the trophies. Mark had both of our world championship trophies that we've won since we've been partnered with him. They had t-shirts and hats and all kinds of fun stuff to hand out. And we had some hero cards. I signed pictures, signed autographs, and took pictures. And it just was a whole lot of fun. And then they had this super cool surprise. Melling bought this like sleeper police car. It was like a Chevy SS or Caprice or something. And everything on the car is Melling, from camshaft to valve train components, timing, oil pumps, like all of that stuff. So it's like the Melling hot rod, and it totally looks like just a regular 4-door car, and you fire it up and it's got that really cool cam lope, and you sit there at idle and the car is rocking. And so we did some fun stuff with that, and I got to take it up and down the back street there in Jackson, trying to avoid trouble. But I was like, man, this reminds me of high school street racing, but had a super duper great time. Mark Melling and Matt have organized just a tremendous business. They do a lot of OEM stuff and then a lot of high performance stuff as well. So to see the plant where all this happens and to know that everything is made in the USA and the great state of Michigan was really cool too. Nothing comes from overseas. So it was awesome. We had a really fun day. And the fact that we were able to take the trophy there after a huge win at Norwalk. And I was super surprised at how many of the employees knew what we had accomplished on Sunday. So they're keeping up with their Melling car, and we were proud to bring home the trophy to Jackson.
Well, that is great. Just tremendous. I always love hearing those stories going there. And yeah, why would they not root for you? Why would they not be involved and ride this to the championship? Exactly right. Erica, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on WFO Radio. A great victory. So exciting. Obviously, we'll all miss Pro Stock in Denver, but that is the shortened schedule we gone to a couple of years ago. And if that is partly why we have 21, 22 cars at some races, then I'm all for it. Thunder Mountain will have pro modified cars there instead, but then you guys are back for Sonoma and Pomona, and then it's on just like that. Kansas, Brainerd, Indy, countdown, and we're going to decide this thing. There's a whole lot of racing between now and then, though. Thank you for coming on WFO Radio. I really appreciate you, and congratulations. And she's frozen. No, you're back. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. I really have fun with you. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Erica. Take care. There she goes. Erica Enders with us here on WFO Radio. Oh, man, we almost lost her. But then it came back just in the nick of time, and we got her in. That was great. Way to go, Erica. So my side of the story is this. I am, we're in rain delay. And so I'm on the starting line waiting for final rounds and just kind of wandering around, like just checking out the scene, right? And I don't want to talk to anybody. And during that, like there are people who go up and talk to someone who's about to have a big event. Not me. I'm not that guy. I've been the person who has been getting ready for a final round. And, I don't want people just coming up and doing chit chat. That's not my thing. And so I'm just trying to stay away from everybody. And I see Greg. Greg is kind of off doing his thing. And the crews, everyone's admiring the rainbow. And Erica was just kind of chilling out under the stands, speaking with Tim, just getting her mind right. And the drama of this matchup, every time they roll to the starting line, it's one of the best in drag racing. If it's not the best rivalry in drag racing right now, please tell me what is, because I don't know. This is it. Like Steve and anybody isn't really a rivalry. That's like the rivalry between a hammer and a nail. There's not really a big rivalry with Steve Torrance and anybody just yet. Erica and Greg, they can both win at any time, at any moment. They're as good as it gets. And that whole intensity there is between KB and Elite. I don't want to say it's carrying the sport right now, but when we talk about rivalries and intensity and all the stuff that everybody wants from the TV shows they watch, it delivers. It delivers. All right, put your comments in the comments section. All the comments. I want to invite fans of Erica who are just checking out the show for the very first time to subscribe, click the bell, watch the show. She's going to be back again, right? It's just a matter of how many times. Is it once or twice or three times? Will she win her 5th championship? These are all questions that will be answered over the course of the 21 season. And I can tell you, we're going to cover all of that stuff right here on WFO Radio. If you're a podcast listener, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, write us a review, listen to the show, put your comments in the comments section. And I'm going to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to do the show. And then I'm going to tell you about some cool stuff that we're doing. And then I'll read your comments. Like, I want to know what your thoughts are. How about the guy saying it's a clutchless transmission? Anybody can do that. Like, that is so ignorant. And you could say stupid. It's not stupid. It's ignorant. Like, he doesn't know. I watch a lot of pro stock cars go down the racetrack, guys. But I have never felt the gear shifter with the car running until very recently. And it just opened up a whole world of, oh, wow, that's got to be really hard. Holding it in gear. Like, you don't just put it in gear like you do your street car and it's in gear and it's just hanging out in gear. You got to hold it in gear. How about when the tires shake, talking about blowing the window out of the back of the car? You got to hold it in gear. It's going to jump right out of gear. Like, that's not easy. Big thanks to Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com, Stock Eliminator Motors, bracket engines, all the way up to Pro Stock, all the way up to Formula One, TotalSeal.com. Frank Hawley, the Dragster Adventure, FrankHawley.com, Frank and Lana doing a great job licensing new drivers, but also giving people the experience of driving a dragster. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. They had a great weekend with their graduates out there in Norwalk. And Marvin Rodak, Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. The hot sauces and the spice rubs, everything good. Marvin Rodak, my buddy, 817-924-6821, located in Fort Worth, Texas. Remember, you can always get our gear, the 10th anniversary t-shirt at the Nitro Fish trailer at the race that you happen to be at. We were going for a record of WFO Radio t-shirts, and I can say successfully that we set the record. Do I know if we actually set the record? No, I do not. I know there were a couple of people that wanted 2X t-shirts, and we were out because WFO listeners are large. They're large people. It's just the way it is, large. And I'll be large soon if I eat another 5 pounds of ice cream. Just saying. You can go to the WFO Radio store, find out how to get free stickers. It's on the website, WFOradio.com. And we even have Patreons, people who pay on a weekly basis, monthly basis, to get special content. It's like a VIP listener club. All right, let's see what everybody's got to say. Here's Blake. Blake, how about that shout out from Erica, Blake? Come on. Anyone who makes that comment is arrogant and speaking out of ignorance. That's right, Blake. Get after the dude. But she said it, though, and she's right, and we're all guilty. There's a product on Amazon, and there's 1,000 positive reviews, and there's 1 negative review. That's where I'm going. I'm going to the negative review. Let's see what this person had to say. Let me judge my opinion based on the 1 negative guy, not the 999 positive guys, right? It's just the way of the world, and there's always going to be someone that says something. You got to block them out. Just because it's clutchless doesn't mean it's easy. You still shift sportsman, pro stock, or driver classes, absolutely, which is why we like them. Friendly rivalry, Greg and Erica. Non-friendly rivalry, Matt Smith and Steve Johnson. I don't know if it would be friendly. Like, I don't know. I think friendly is maybe overstating it. Respectful, definitely. Matt Smith, Steve Johnson. We're going to talk to Matt about it. Tomorrow, Cruz Pedregon is on at 3:00. Cruz Pedregon. So be ready for the Cruiser tomorrow. He had a big, non-rivalry race, but Matt Smith will be next week. There is definitely a rivalry. Is it a vicious rivalry? Is it a hateful rivalry? I don't know about that, but it's definitely not friendly. I'll give you that. Pro stock is the hardest class of racing. Yeah. Well, Alex Laughlin had actually a really good quote. He says it's the hardest to do well. He goes, to do it well, you have to be perfect. Simple as that. Monica, he is just jealous he can't drive like Erica. Then again, so am I. Great job. Whole shot win. Stan. Okay, how about this? What is this? Always great to hear from Erica. Stan Blakely. I don't know what that means. Barrichello Nitro, who I met out there at Norwalk. I met so many fans, guys. So many fans. Always love to see Erica kick his butt and when everybody else kicks his butt. That's the thing is I have the greatest of respect for Greg Anderson, too. As a fan of pro stock, like how can you not? Two icons of the sport, clash of the titans. Let's see. This is a comment. She does have reaction times like us, bracket racers. Well done. The Einstein who said that probably can't even drive a stick car. Oh, here we go. Kev. Joe versus Pro, 8th mile pro stock race. Come on, Joe, get in that pro stock car, live that dream. First, I'm going to run Flying Ryan Ayler. That's happening a week from today, guys. The big Joe versus Pro match race at Showtime Dragway in Tampa, Florida, a week from today. There will be no WFO show next week at this time because I was challenged on the show by Flying Ryan Ayler in identically prepared Mustang GTs. And so I'm going to trek across the state of Florida and I'm going to bring my camera and all of that stuff. And Joe, will run Ryan Pro stock motorcycle. And we're going to race and we're going to see what happens. And, obviously I am a tremendous underdog in any Joe versus Pro battle, but I am open to more. I believe this is going to be the premiere or the pilot of our new YouTube show, Joe versus Pro, where I race against professional racers in various circumstances, or maybe eat ice cream against Angie Smith. Maybe that'll work. Right. But I like where your head's at, you Kev. Talk to Hartford, man. Let me do a burnout. Jaron says, will I be in Denver? The answer is yes. I believe I'll be at all the rest of the Camping World Series races. That is at least the plan as of the moment. Assuming everything continues to get better and better and better. I'll be at all the final races. And so that's going to be great. Very exciting. All right. Final comments. Erica kicks butt. Yes. Blake is going to be rooting for, I would imagine he means Erica, unless he means me over Flying Ryan, which I would fully expect all our WFO radio listeners to support me against Flying Ryan. Sorry, Ryan. This is the WFO universe, bud. You did the wrong thing, man, challenging me, calling me out on the show. I have 20 on Joe. Don't forget, I've run both cars several times. I can give you some tips if you want. Dale, yes, send them. I guess it used to be Sunshine. I think it's now called Showtime or Showdown. It used to be Sunshine Dragway. I can tell you about a time me and my friends went from Moroso Motorsports Park over to Sunshine and had a very interesting time over there. It was really cool. No, it's not. Don't know what that is. You over Ryan. Thank you, Blake. Gets right. You're going down, Ayler. But I really appreciate the invite by Flying Ryan Ayler. All right. That's going to do it. Thank you so much to everybody out there. Thank you to Erica for coming on the show and Courtney for the great the rainbow pick. Like, what's that all about? No, she said it was still raining. She didn't want to get the hair wet, right? Like, what's up? Isn't that a perfect rainbow? Come on. Tough guys like rainbows too. Erica Enders getting the job done. Greg 2 wins. Erica 2 wins. I said it at the start of the season and we all agreed. There are going to be other players, but your championship favorites are Greg and Erica. However many races into the season we are, that is still true. Tomorrow, Cruz Pedregon, 3 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, Courtney. Courtney's supplying all these photographs, by the way. You think I'm taking these? It's Courtney Enders supplying the show. Yeah, Showtime, Clearwater. Why isn't it? Exactly. That's what I ask myself all the time. Remember, you can subscribe, click the bell, follow on Facebook, follow on Twitter. The most important thing you can do for our show is alert your friends and share on your social media. There are many, many drag racing fans that love what we do here on WFO, and there are many that still don't know. So why don't you tell them? We appreciate you. Thanks to Erica. Thanks to Courtney. Elite Motorsports, Big Win, and Norwalk. Bill Bader, the ice cream scoop, the whole facility, the whole track. It was great. Top notch. Top notch. And Angie Smith, if you're out there, thank you very much for participating in our ice cream eating contest. Oh, I didn't ask Erica if she would participate in the future, as one of our listeners asked. And the reason I didn't ask that is because I'm pretty confident of the answer. You know? She's excited about Cruise. Ron Settles Pro Mod 5-speed manual, hardest class. Chad Green walked us through it. Yeah, that 5-speed manual, it's got to be pretty tough. And nitrous Pro Mod. Erica Enders, thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, WFO.